Welcome to today's video on P-5 day 3. Today we're going to focus on solving absolute value equations. First we're going to do it algebraically. Okay, there we go. So the first thing you need to do when you solve algebraically is isolate the absolute value. So we're going to subtract 5 here. So we get 3 times 2 minus 7x equals 33. And then we're going to divide by 3 so that we get absolute value of 2 minus 7x is equal to 11. Then we're going to split it into two equations. One should be the opposite of the right hand side. So you have 2 minus 7x equals 11 and 2 minus 7x equals negative 11. Then you're going to solve each equation. So you subtract 2 and divide by negative 7. So you get x equals negative 9/7. And then you're going to subtract 2 and divide by negative 7. So you get x equals 13/7. And then you're going to check. And you can check by substituting it back into your calculator to make sure that it works. Alright, it is very important to check because there are times where you could get what's called an extraneous solution, meaning you solve the problem correctly, but when you check it, the answer does not work within the problem. So make sure to check it. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to move on. Solving graphically. Graphically, you don't need to do anything to the equation. You just make y sub 1 equal the left hand side, and remember on your calculator when you go for absolute value you're going to hit math and then go over to numbers, and then the first one is ABS, that's absolute value. So you're going to go 3 ABS, and then it's 2 minus 7x plus 5. The second side is just going to be 38. Now you should know what each graph should look like. Alright, absolute value looks like a V. So y sub 1 is going to be a V, whereas y sub 2 is going to be a straight line, y equals 38. So then we're going to put it in our calculator. So we have 3, and then we go math, numbers, absolute value, 2 minus 7x, parenthesis, plus 5, and then y sub 2 is 38. And then remember, we'll start with the standard window. Notice part of the thing shows up, but not the whole thing. So what we're going to do is change, and we'll change, since basically, notice y sub 2 is 38, so that means we have to make the y maximum at least 40. We'll make it 50 just for the purpose of this. And notice you have your V, and then you have your straight line. So now everything shows up. So our domain is negative 10 to 10. Our range is negative 10 to 50. Now sketch the graph that you got, just so you know what it looks like. So we know basically we got a V, and there's our straight line. So that's what our graph looks like, kind of like that. Now, in order to get the intersections, we're going to go second trace, intersect, enter, 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 and that gives us our one intersection, x equals negative 1.2 2857. And then remember, to get the other one, we trace, and then we have to move it over past the vertex, and then notice we go second, trace, intersect, enter, 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 and we get positive 1.8571. So those are our two answers that we got. All right, so on the next page, there's an example here. So why don't you pause the video and try to do this on your own. So if you notice algebraically, we're going to isolate. So subtract 3. So we get 2 times 3 minus 4x equals 8x plus 8. Then we're going to divide by 2 everything. So we get the absolute value of 3 minus 4x equals 4x plus 4. So then we're going to make two equations. 3 minus 4x equals 4x plus 4. And 3 minus 4x equals the opposite of 4x plus 4. And notice I put the opposite, not just negative 4x plus 4. It's the opposite because you're going to have to distribute. Negative 4x minus 4. So then when we add 4x here, notice you get 0 equals, subtract 3, negative 7. That means that there is no solution for this one. If I solve this next one by subtracting 4x, I get negative 8x. Subtract 3, so negative 8x equals 1. X equals negative 1/8. All right, and you can put it back in to check and make sure it works, and it does. Now graphically, when I do this, y sub 1 is equal to 2 times the absolute value of 3 minus 4x plus 3. Y sub 2 is 8x plus 11, which means your y sub 1 is going to be a v, and your y sub 2 is going to be a line. So when we type it in our calculator here, so we get 2, and then remember math, number, absolute value, 3 minus 4x plus 3. And then here you get 8x plus 11. And then remember, you're going to try the standard window first. And notice you see the V, and you get the line, but you don't really see the intersection. So what we want to do is make our Y maximum bigger, because that will allow us to see more. So we're just going to go window, make our Y maximum 20. And then graph it, and notice now the intersection shows up much clearer. And so, and notice there's no second intersection. So basically we just go second trace. Oh, let me do that again. Second trace, intersect, enter, enter, enter. And you get x is negative 1.25, or 0.125, sorry. And that is your final answer. Notice, write down your domain, negative 10 to 10. Your range that you used was negative 10 to 20. And then don't forget to also sketch the graph that you got. So in this one, it looks like that. And then goes like that. So there's only one intersection. All right, hopefully this video helped you, and you have a good evening, and for those of you that are in B period, have a good day off tomorrow, and the rest of you, I will see you on Thursday. All right, have a good evening.